Hello and welcome to my video. I'm talking fast because I don't have much time, but I've been procrastinating this video for a very long time, and I want to be obedient to God, so I'm working with the time that I have, and I'm going to be talking about tips and things that I learned from getting married young. I know people get young married like 16. No, I only got married at 19, but I'm just talking to you guys about things that I learned. I'm 23 now. So I just want to tell y'all what I know and what wisdom God has given me to share. And so let's get into it. I'm going to look different throughout this video because I'm not taking this all in one sitting. I'm a mom of two under two. So I'm on the go. I'm busy. Okay. I got one girl, one toddler eating. I got my infant in the four moms rocker. And so I'm doing my best. I'm talking as fast as I can. If you don't like videos that have a bunch of cuts out, you're not going to like this video, go ahead and get out the video. I am a Christian, so I will be talking about God in this video unapologetically. I'm just letting y'all know that in advance. So let's get into it. Okay, so number one, being in love is a feeling, not a state of mind. In order to continue to be in love, that takes work. Okay, so and work takes effort. So you have to constantly put in the work every day, showing your love that you care for them and that you love them. Number two, there are highs and lows in the marriage. The highs will always outweigh the lows. But when the lows come, don't get scared. Okay? That's the time that you're going to be praying to God. That is the time that you guys are both going to be leaning on God to help y'all get through those moments. Don't give up. Keep going. Every relationship is going to have their highs and lows. Just don't give up. Don't give in to Satan. Stay focused on God. God has to be the center. Stay focused on God because the devil will try it. The devil does not like marriages. The devil wants to destroy your marriage. So you have to keep your eyes focused on God and keep praying. Never stop praying. Never stop praying. Three, keep God in the center of your marriage. Keep God in the center. When you spend too much time focusing on them, focusing on the kids, focusing on yourself, you're going to get stressed out. You're going to get overwhelmed. You're going to think that it's your job. How can you pour into your husband and your children the right way if you're not allowing God to pour into yourself? Hold on one second. If you're not getting poured in from the word, if you're not getting poured in, okay, so like I was saying, in order for you to pour into your family in the best way possible, you have to be allowing God to pour into you. You can't pour from an empty cup, okay? So you have to keep God the center. Okay, so number four, you have to keep your marriage life to yourself. I'm not talking about when you go on trips or what y'all been up to. That's fun. That's fine. You can share that. That's fine. I'm talking about when you guys are having disagreements. I'm talking about when you guys are going through a season of different struggles. Keep that to yourself. Do not tell these people around you what you guys are struggling about. Do not tell these people around you what you guys are fighting about. That is you, God, and your husband's business. That's it. The only reason why you should be reaching out to somebody outside of those three people reaching out is if number one, you think you're in danger. Number two, like I said, you're being abused or your kids or whatever that is. The only reason you should be reaching out is if you're trying to actually leave the marriage. Okay, like if you're in danger or you feel like your marriage is, like you're something bad is going to happen. Because I'll tell you why. Because you and your spouse are going to get in arguments in a marriage, and if you keep going and telling people what you guys are fighting about, they're going to be like, "Oh, well, you forgave him for that." You forget. People outside of your marriage are not going to understand what what struggles, well, what temptations you guys struggle with, or every marriage is different because everybody is different. So you can't get advice from the outside world and then think that, oh, I forgave my husband. They're still going to be mad at your husband for what you told them because they're not in love with your husband the way you're in love with your husband. So you may think that getting advice from the outside world is okay, because it's telling you how to deal with things. No, you need to be looking to the Bible to find out how you deal with these conflicts. You need to be looking to God. All right, number 5. Always date your spouse. Don't ever get too comfortable and think, "Oh, well, we're already married, things are getting boring." No, don't let things get boring. Always keep things as exciting as you can. Okay, never get comfortable where you think that you don't want to surprise them anymore, or you don't want to make them feel special anymore, or anything like that. You know, keep trying to take them out for dates, keep trying to pursue them, keep trying to, oh hey, I like a surprise date or a surprise gift that they've been talking about. They want something, surprise them with a gift. Like, keep trying your best to pursue them. Don't ever get too comfortable. Let us steward the marriages that God has given us, okay? Because God didn't have to give you a husband, or God didn't have to give you a wife. I don't know who's watching this video, but He did. So let's steward what God has given us, and let's steward it well. All right, number 6. Always be ready to forgive. Hold on. Always be ready to forgive your spouse, even when you don't want to. Some things are not worth being petty about. Some things are not worth taking your whole day and arguing about. Okay, if you guys are really set on being together for the rest of your lives, you can't let little petty things take over your whole day, or especially into the next day. You can't let these little things get to you. You have to learn, and that comes with time. Okay, marriage is a process. You're going to learn a lot of things. There's no way, I mean, I'm making this video, but there's no way to be prepared for everything beforehand. All I can do is give you tidbits of what I've learned, but then just take what you can from it. There's a lot of things still you're going to learn from being married. Okay, but what I'm saying is, try your best to forgive and just move on. Okay, because the devil loves when you guys are arguing. The devil loves, and that's going to happen regardless, because in any relationship, when two people are always together, you're going to get friction sometimes. Okay, that's science. You're going to get friction sometimes. But the devil loves when you want to prolong it. The devil loves when you guys want to exaggerate whatever you're going through, because the devil hates marriage. The devil hates marriage. He hates it. So he's going to make it, he's going to put things in your head. Oh, maybe you should say this next, or say this next. And it's just going to make fire and fire, 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 fire. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse, when it was just this little issue in the beginning, and now it's this big issue. We don't want that. You don't want that. Okay. So don't let the devil get in the middle of what was just a tiny disagreement into this big avalanche. Okay, let's not do that. Oh yeah, and about that, if you're having trouble finding forgiveness, talk to God about it, pray about it. If you have to do counseling. It's better to get counseling than get divorced. Okay, but always first seek God first. Seek God first. Pray first. Okay, read the Bible first. Talk to your preacher about it if you two feel comfortable about it first. Okay, then you can resort to counseling if you guys are feeling comfortable with that. Okay, because it's better, don't be ashamed of counseling. It's better to do counseling and talk things through than getting a divorce. Okay. All right, number 7. Leave the past in the past. Forgiveness is 100% necessary if you want to stay married. Forgiveness is 100% necessary if you want to stay married. Think about Jesus. We did not deserve what Jesus did on the cross for us, but He did it for us because He loved us. We are sinful people. But if Jesus, who lived on this earth and went through everything that we could go through, tempted in so many ways, but never sinned, a sinless man, if He can die on the cross for us and forgive us for our sins, then we can forgive our spouse for their sins. Okay? Matter of fact, the scripture tells us that Jesus is not going to forgive us if we don't forgive others. And that is a hard pill to swallow. But when you really digest that and you really think about, why does the Bible even tell me to do that, you'll understand it better. Okay? So leave the past in the past. I'm not talking about no accountability. I'm not talking about, okay, well, you keep nonchalantly telling me that you're sorry for doing something and there hasn't been any change and you did it like 16 times. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about leave the past in the past, meaning, okay, just because, so if they're saying you did something that hurt them, you're not going to lash back at them and say, oh, well, you've hurt me before too. You've done X. You don't do that. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Why? Because we're learning to take accountability. We're learning to ask for forgiveness because our love is more important than an argument. Our love is more important than whatever disagreement we're going through. Don't see it as an attack. Ask God to help you with that. If you're struggling with that, ask God to change your heart in that way, to see whenever you hurt your spouse, don't see it as an attack. Okay? Maybe you've been through things as a child that lets you see things as an attack sometimes when it's really not an attack. Maybe it's just them, just telling them how they've been hurt, because we've all been hurt before. So, whatever you're struggling with, whatever things your partner does that really irks you or tenses you up, pray about it and ask God to change your heart. I say, God, what have I been through as a child, or what have I been through in my life that's making me feel this way whenever my spouse says this or does this? What is it? What is it, God? Help me to stop lashing out at my spouse about what they're doing, and help me to understand why am I reacting like this, and help me to learn to react better. Something that my husband and I have implemented in our marriage is owning each other's chores, I guess. So instead of saying you forgot to do that or you forgot to do this and this is your fault, pointing fingers, say, oh, we forgot to do this or we forgot to do that, even if you're the only person there that was supposed to do it, because marriage takes two. Okay, so if you could do it, the other person could do it too. And be like, okay, well, let me play this out for you. Let's say one of us forgot to go to the store to grab some milk. Okay, and that one of us wasn't me. I would say, hey, baby, I think we forgot to pick up milk today. And then he might apologize, and I'll be like, it's okay, baby. I'll go pick up the milk, because we both need the milk, not just him. This is a marriage, okay? So whatever one of us needs done, if I need the laundry done, if he needs to get gas for his car, this is all us. This is all us. Even if one of us forget, just forgive that person and just make it right. Like if we're gonna be living together forever, until we die, stay married, we can't take these little things and be petty about them and like hold a grudge for. If this is supposed to be a lifetime thing, we need to learn to be more mature about problems, more responsible, and taking accountability. Okay, number 9 is communicate everything. Even the things that you feel like they might not want to hear is your job to communicate that. Okay, so number 10, worshiping together, attending church frequently together, praying together, reading the Bible together are all key ways of having a successful marriage. Keep God in the center. Number 11, you are both constantly changing and growing together as people. So remember to keep in touch, like with the communication thing. Always communicate. If you're feeling different about something or whatever, because there's going to be constantly changes. Okay, so try your best to communicate as much as possible with your partner instead of shutting down. I understand it's some periods of time it requires, time of silence, quiet time. Maybe if you're upset with your spouse, you want to think before you speak, that kind of thing. But other than that, always keep them updated about your feelings and things of that nature. Number 12, don't be afraid to live with your parents if you and your parents have a good relationship. Don't be afraid to live with them for a temporary amount of time. Save up for a house. Houses are not free, and apartments can be expensive, so don't feel bad if that's your situation that you have to do. Okay, 13 and 14. So 13, try to have as much intimate time together as possible. No matter what season of life you're in, don't neglect intimate time together. You need that. Number 14, don't withhold any type of love as a punishment. Okay? We didn't deserve for Jesus to die on the cross for us, but he did. So the same way like that, our spouses sometimes may not quote unquote deserve our love, but we're supposed to give it to them anyway. So number 15, it's okay to have boundaries with each other, but not against each other. Okay, so what does this look like? This looks like if you have boundaries about what kind of people that you're comfortable with your spouse being friends with, or what places your spouse gets to go, or if your spouse is going to places where you're not allowed to be, things like that. Okay. And once you're married, your body is no longer yours, it belongs to him, and his body is no longer his, it belongs to the woman. That's the scripture. And it also says if you guys have to withdraw from intimate time for a period of time, that you guys should pray through that so you guys don't get tempted. That's all in the Bible. So that's how it should be handled. Okay, so 16 and 17, love each other through all the struggles, through the job loss, through the financial loss. I know it's easier said than done, but don't let these materialistic things make you end something that is supposed to be, eternal, like forever. Like, don't let these things are going to stress you out. These things are going to happen and they're going to stress you out, but don't let them turn you two against each other. Let it bring you guys actually more together, and fight to get through the struggles you're going to have, because you're going to have struggles. Okay. So let these situations come and you guys fight through it together, not fight against each other. Not, oh, it's your fault, that this even happened. Nothing like that. But do it together. Work as a team. Don't have agreements with your spouse in public. Anything that you're feeling, talk to them in private. And I think we already talked about this earlier, but yeah, so try your best not to embarrass your spouse in public. And if you do, then apologize for it. So try your best to keep everything in private. Number 19, sometimes you have to fight for your marriage. Marriage is work. Just don't lose the fight. If you have to fight for your marriage, fight for your marriage. Everyone goes through seasons in their marriage where it's harder than others or easier than other times in their marriage. Just fight for it. Just don't give up. Pray. All right, so number 20, it's okay to travel with your kids. However, if you're planning this big, expensive trip and you feel like if X, Y, and Z goes wrong, then the whole trip is ruined, something that you're, hold on one second. Yeah, so if X, Y, or Z goes wrong and you're like, oh, well, if this happens and the trip is going to be ruined according to your child's behavior, then don't bring the children. You can't expect to have such a high standard on your child in an unknown area for them, okay? They're human too. They're just being children. So if you think that them behaving as a child is going to affect your trip that's supposed to be like an adult trip, then you know in your heart that maybe you shouldn't bring them there. Maybe you should just wait until they get older, or see if you can have a loved one watch them. That's my best advice. So yeah, that is my best advice when it comes to the kids, because we've been on trips with our kids before. None of them I regret, because I didn't go on any trips with them that I knew would be hard on their nature. Like I haven't been on any long trips with them, and I haven't been on any trips where I would say is an adult trip. All the trips I've taken them are for kids. So I would just keep that in mind. But I also know that the more you travel with your kid, the more they'll get accumulated to it. So if you want your kids to get used to long trips and stuff, and you've been taking them on a lot of trips, then they're going to enjoy those trips. But I'm just talking about, like, if you have kids and you're like, one day, oh, I'm going to Paris tomorrow and I'm going to bring my kids, like, don't be upset if they behave as a child, because at the end of the day, they are a child. So don't put high standards on them just because you spent so much money on a trip. Don't get frustrated at them because you feel like you wasted money on the trip. Your kids never asked to go to Paris. Okay, I'm just being blunt right now. Your kids didn't ask to go to Paris. You wanted to go to Paris with your kids. So try not to be hard on them. They're just children. What do they know? Okay, so number 24. You will love each other more the longer you're together. Think about it like some red meat marinating, okay? And yes, I'm hungry, okay? Anyway, the longer you let it sit and marinate, the softer it's going to be. If you just let it marinate for 10 minutes, okay, the red meat's going to be a bit tough. It's going to be a bit tough because it hasn't been together sitting for a long time, okay? You got to let it sit, soak up all the seasonings, and then it's going to get nice and tender, nice and juicy. And yeah, and I'm about to cook because I'm hungry. So that's what you have to do, okay? You have to let the flavors of the marriage marinate the longer you're together. Okay, this is my last tip, number 25. Okay, so keep God first, and then the two of you, the marriage, then the children. Okay, so that's how it has to be. You have to keep it in that order. In that order. People like to put their kids first. How can you put your kids first if the foundation isn't isn't proper? Okay, you can't build a house if there isn't a proper foundation. You can't say, "Oh, I have a whole house," but you don't have any flooring in the house. You have to have the flooring. Okay, the roof is Jesus. The flooring is your marriage, and the things inside that area are the children. Okay. All right. Well, I hope this blessed somebody. I know this video was a bit chaotic. I know this video was a bit everywhere. Okay. But I'm putting this out here because I've been procrastinating it for a long time and I don't want to disobey God. Okay. So I'm going to be obedient anyway. No? Okay. Y'all, I'm going to be obedient anyway. Yeah, that's a microphone. Okay. So this is the end. All right. Goodbye and have a blessed week.